Hello traders, and welcome to another exciting edition of our weekly XAUSD and GBPUSD trade analysis. Okay, so I'm excited to be here with you as we dive into the dynamic world of forex trading. So in today's video, we'll be dissecting the price action for XAUSD and GBPUSD, identifying key and potential levels on the charts and discussing potential strategies for the week ahead.
So right here on my screen is GBPUSD. So for last week on GBPUSD, remember we were expecting price to continue upward just like we said, to either respect this resistance zone or possibly break out of it to continue to the next resistance zone above. As you can see, price is still on the move. So for the coming week, which is next week, guys, so since price is already on the downward movement, we're expecting price to come down to respect this resistance zone, thereby turning it into a valid support zone before continuing upward. Remember guys, as you can see, price has been respecting this resistance zone for a while, so we're expecting price to come down to turn it into a support, a valid support zone before continuing to the next resistance zone just above. But in the case where price breaks below this previous resistance zone and also break below this support, we're expecting price to continue downward to this support zone right here. So I'll just mark that out real quick, guys. So in the case where price breaks below this support zone, which is right here, and also breaks below this support, we'll be expecting price to give us a retest before continuing downward to this support zone right here. So guys, that will be all for the 4 hours time frame on GBPUSD. So we'll just dive in quickly to the lower time frame, which is the 4 hours time frame, to get a closer picture of some things we need to be expecting, guys, on GBPUSD. Okay guys, so this is GBPUSD on the 4 hours time frame. So guys, I'll just zoom out real quick so we can get a clearer picture of what we are looking at right here, guys. Since price is on a downward move, as you can see, it has broken below this support zone. We will be expecting price to continue downward to respect this resistance zone, thereby turning it into a support zone before continuing to the next resistance zone just above. But on the flip side scenario, if price breaks below this support zone right here, we'll be expecting price to give us a retest, thereby after breaking below this support zone before continuing to the next support zone just below, guys. So as you can see, it's not very different from what we expected on the daily time frame, guys. It's not very different from what we expected. I'll just zoom out here right here so we can see clearly what we're talking about, guys. So guys, quickly we'll still move over to the 1 hour time frame. So guys, this is the 1 hour time frame on GBPUSD. As you can see on my screen, this is the 1 hour time frame. So I'll just zoom out really quick so we can get a very visible chart right here. So as you can see on the 1 hour time frame, the zones we mapped out are very clear and visible. They are very clear right here. As you can see, price is breaking below this zone right here, this support zone right here. As you can see, price has broken below it. So for next week on GBPUSD on the 1 hour time frame, we'll be expecting price to continue downward. I'll just cancel this. We'll be expecting price to continue downward from where it is to respect this resistance zone. It's a very valid resistance zone, as you can see, thereby turning it into a support before continuing upward to the next resistance zone just above. But on the flip side, if price decides to break below this resistance zone, like we said on the flip side scenario, we're expecting price to continue downward to the next support zone just below, guys. So guys, generally on GBPUSD for next week, we are expecting a continuation to the downside for price to continue downward to respect the resistance zone, thereby turning it into a support zone before continuing upward. But on the flip side, if price decides to break below that resistance zone, we'll be expecting price to give us a retest and then continue downward to the next support zone, which is right here. As you can see, this is a very valid support zone, guys. So guys, quickly we'll move over to XAUUSD so we can mark out some zones that we need to pay close attention to for the coming week, guys. Alright guys, welcome back. So this is XAUUSD gold on my screen. As you can see, we are going to be doing a top-down analysis on the pair XAUUSD so as to mark out some zones that we need to pay close attention to for the coming week, guys. So right here on my screen is XAUUSD on the daily time frame. The zones we marked out for weeks now have still been holding, the support zone and the resistance zone right here still been holding. So for last week, we're expecting price to continue upward, to respect this resistance zone or possibly break out of it to continue upward. As you can see, price actually did exactly what we were expecting. So for the coming week, guys, we're expecting a continuation from price since it's already going downward, to continue downward to respect this resistance zone right here before continuing upward. But on the flip side, if price decides to break below that resistance zone, we'll be expecting price to give us a retest right here before continuing to the support zone right here, guys. So quickly we'll move over to the 4 hours time frame so you can see these zones we mark out on the daily time frame, very visible. Alright guys, so this is the 4-hour time frame chart on XAUUSD. Price broke out of our resistance zone just like we expected for last week, and then came back in. So right here on XAUUSD on the 4 hours time frame, we're expecting price to continue downward since it's already on a downward movement. We're expecting price to continue downward to respect this resistance zone, thereby turning it into a support before continuing upward. But on the flip side, if price decides to break below this resistance zone right here, we'll be expecting price to also break below this support zone right here before giving us a confirmation before continuing downward to the next support zone, guys. So as you can see, this is not very different from what we expected on the daily time frame, guys. So we'll be expecting price to, if price breaks below, we'll be expecting price to also break below this support zone right here, then give us a confirmation before continuing downward to the next support zone, guys. So I'll also move over to the 1 hour time frame so we can also get a clearer picture of some zones we need to be looking at, guys. Alright, so guys, this is the 1 hour time frame on XAUUSD. As you can see, the zones we marked out are very clear right here. As you can see, this is the support zone we marked out that has been holding for weeks. This is also the resistance zone of which that has been holding for weeks, of which price broke out of from and then came back in. So for the coming week on XAUUSD on gold, we were expecting price to come down to respect this support zone just like we expected on the higher time frames before continuing upward, guys. But on the flip side, if price decides to break below that resistance zone, we'll be expecting price to also continue downward to break below this support zone, give us a confirmation before continuing downward to the next support zone just below, guys. So generally on XAUUSD, guys, we're expecting a continuation to the downside for price to respect this resistance zone, thereby turning it into a support before continuing upward. But in a case where it breaks below, we'll be expecting price to give us a good confirmation before continuing downward to the next support zone, which is a very valid support zone, guys. So that will be all for this week's forecast, guys. Make sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel and also turn on the notifications so as to get notified on whenever we post our forecast, guys. So we also offer some exclusive and premium services on our Telegram channel. The link will be displayed on the description of this video, and I look to see you all next week. GM, guys.